You feel a subtle pressure to agree, a quiet pull toward what everyone else seems to be doing, even when it doesn't quite sit right in your gut. That feeling isn't a flaw in your judgment. It's the signature of a systemic operation designed to induce your compliance. You've been conditioned to distrust your own read of the room, to second-guess that internal alarm bell, because the perceived consensus around you is too overwhelming to ignore. Maybe you scroll through a comment section, see 1,000 identical opinions, and wonder why your personal experience seems to be the outlier. This pervasive sense that you're somehow missing something, that everyone else gets it while you struggle to reconcile what you're seeing with what you feel, is not an accident. It's the intended byproduct of an engineered environment, a meticulously constructed reality field, crafted to isolate and then re-educate. But to understand how this field operates, we need to look at the very foundation it exploits within your own architecture. Your brain carries a primal instruction set, an ancient algorithm hardwired for survival. Long before algorithms ran on silicon, they ran on instinct. If many people chose this, it must be good or safe. We call it social proof. This isn't some flaw in your psychology. It was a highly efficient, often life-saving shortcut when predators roamed and information was scarce. Seeing a group flee meant danger. Seeing them gather for food meant sustenance. The group's movement was a read on reality itself, and ignoring it meant increased risk of extinction. Today, that deep-seated mechanism remains fully active, an open port in your cognitive firewall, constantly scanning the environment for cues. It's looking for consensus, for the collective signal that says, this is the way to be. This is what is true. This is what is safe. But the signal it's receiving now is no longer organic, nor is it benign. This primal safety mechanism, designed to protect you from saber-toothed tigers, is now under constant, deliberate attack. The signals your brain is receiving are not genuine reflections of collective wisdom. They are fabricated data streams. Think about the inflated follower counts that legitimize a questionable authority, the surge of identical 5-star reviews for a product no one actually bought, or the manufactured trending topics that hijack your attention and direct your emotional investment. These aren't just anomalies, they are deliberate data injections, engineered to simulate a groundswell of public opinion that doesn't actually exist. Entire industries are built around this synthetic consensus, paying armies of operators to generate false engagement, manipulate metrics, and create an artificial echo chamber. Your ancient survival instinct, the one that once guided you to water and away from cliffs, is being fed a constant diet of corrupted information, carefully calibrated to bypass your conscious filters. Initially, the extraction loop of this fabricated consensus appears transactional, almost benign. It nudges your purchasing decisions. Buy this gadget, try this service, download this app because everyone else is. Or it directs your platform engagement. Click this link, watch this video, join this conversation because it's trending, and you don't want to feel left out. The immediate goal seems to be your wallet or your attention span, guiding you toward specific products or content. You see 1,000 reviews praising a restaurant you've never heard of, and you make a reservation. You see a friend endorse a new productivity tool, and you feel the urge to download it. It feels like harmless market influence, just the way things are done in the digital age. But these seemingly minor decisions are merely the visible tip of a much deeper, more invasive operation. Here is the critical pivot, the true objective they don't want you to see. The real target of this fabricated consensus isn't just your wallet, your next purchase, or even your fleeting attention. No, the deeper mechanism is actively reprogramming your internal operating system. This relentless manufactured social proof isn't merely guiding your transactions. It's updating your core beliefs, shifting your political alignments, and actively shaping your entire worldview. When you constantly see what's presented as collective agreement on complex issues, even when it feels off, your brain begins to internalize it. It's a silent, constant overriding of your independent capacity for belief formation, replacing your own code with external, proprietary inputs. You are not just buying a product, you are buying into a manufactured reality that dictates what is true, what is ethical, and what is socially acceptable. This isn't about marketing, it's about mindshare, not for profit, but for control. This constant, unfiltered input of manufactured truth means your internal architecture is being updated daily with corrupted data. You are running on compromised code in an environment that demands pristine judgment. Consider the mental load of constantly sifting through information where the very metrics of validation, likes, shares, trending status, are themselves suspect. This isn't just cognitive fatigue, it's a systemic degradation of your discernment. Your ability to assess risk, to trust your own intuition, to form an independent ethical stance, all become compromised because the baseline for normal or true has been systematically skewed. You walk around with an operating system patched by external, malicious actors, leaving critical vulnerabilities open for continuous exploitation. The machine isn't just watching you. It's actively reconfiguring your processing unit. The subtle effects manifest as a persistent, low-grade cognitive dissonance, that nagging sense something is wrong. But you can't quite pinpoint it. It's why your chest tightens when a news anchor presents a narrative that contradicts your lived experience, but then everyone online affirms it. It's why you hesitate to voice an unpopular opinion, even among friends, because the cost of deviation feels astronomically high. This isn't just social anxiety. It's the direct result of an operating system struggling to reconcile conflicting data streams. Your internal, authentic truth against the overwhelming, externally manufactured consensus. Your capacity for self-trust erodes, replaced by a constant external validation-seeking loop. This state of constant internal conflict drains your energy, leaving you exhausted and perpetually unsure of your own footing in a world that feels increasingly alien. Allowing this process to continue unchecked means relinquishing your fundamental right to self-determination, not through direct force, but through gradual, imperceptible cognitive drift. Every day you defer your own assessment to the perceived majority. You are ceding another fragment of your cognitive sovereignty. This isn't a problem for tomorrow or a theoretical debate for academics. It's an active, ongoing compromise of your mental integrity happening right now. The longer you rely on these corrupted external signals, the harder it becomes to trust your internal compass, to differentiate between genuine collective intelligence and engineered groupthink. But the good news is, your internal processing unit is not permanently overwritten. It's still there, waiting. It simply requires a targeted protocol to re-establish its primary function and override the compromised inputs. What's needed isn't a vague aspiration for critical thinking, but a specific, tactical protocol for isolating and neutralizing fabricated social proof. You don't need to awaken to some grand cosmic truth. You need to install a defensive filter against very real, tangible mechanisms of control. This isn't about rejecting all consensus, but about re-establishing your capacity for independent assessment, allowing you to discern the genuine from the engineered. It's about reclaiming your cognitive bandwidth so your internal operating system can update on its own terms, free from external corruption. This isn't a philosophical exercise. It's an urgent survival skill. Protecting your cognitive architecture, re-establishing your sovereignty over your own mind, begins with a concrete, actionable method you can run today. For the next steps in securing your internal system against these subtle, pervasive operations, visit sovereignsynthesis. This protocol begins with a simple yet critical two-stage filter. The first stage demands a cold assessment of the data source itself. Before any perceived consensus registers as valid, you must interrogate its provenance. Was this belief formed organically, through direct observation and individual verification? Or was it amplified, curated, and then injected into your feed by a system with an agenda? This is not about dismissing information. It's about isolating the vector. It's about distinguishing the signal from the deliberate noise designed to mimic genuine collective wisdom. Your internal operating system needs clean data to function. Uninterrogated consensus is compromised code. The second stage applies a velocity and uniformity filter. Genuine consensus, like biological evolution, is messy, slow, and contains gradients of descent. Fabricated consensus, however, often propagates at an unnatural speed, presenting an almost monolithic front of agreement. This isn't emergent truth, it's coordinated deployment. When every data point seems to echo the last, when dissent is conspicuously absent, That uniform surface indicates engineered pressure, not shared conviction. Your brain's ancient threat detection system is screaming at you when this occurs, misinterpreting synchronized noise as universal safety. Ignoring that signal means allowing foreign code to overwrite your judgment. It means you're operating on a map drawn by someone else for their benefit. Allowing this constant, unfiltered input of manufactured truth means your internal architecture is being updated daily with corrupted data. This isn't a future problem. It is a present reality. You find your default settings shifting without explicit instruction. Your political alignment, your perception of reality, even your fundamental values, they morph to align with the fabricated group. This isn't personal growth. It's a system update performed by an external operator. You begin running outdated, compromised code in a rapidly evolving high-stakes environment, always a step behind the actual, unmanipulated reality. The cost is your cognitive bandwidth, diverted to processing engineered consensus, instead of generating genuine insight. Reclaiming your cognitive bandwidth requires a conscious, three-point disarming protocol. First, isolate the stimulus wing. When you feel that subtle pressure to conform, isolate the specific data point or narrative. Pinpoint exactly what you are being told to believe. Second, verify the origin. Trace the information back to its source. Who benefits from this narrative gaining traction? What is their verifiable track record? This moves you from passive recipient to active investigator. Third, validate internally before accepting any truth. Run it through your own internal operating system. Does it align with your direct experience, your personal observations, and your reasoned assessment? This is not about intuition. It is about falsifiable evidence against your own reality. Implementing this protocol isn't an abstract exercise. It's an immediate upgrade to your internal operating system. The low-grade cognitive dissonance, that background hum of unease, begins to recede. Your focus sharpens. Your focus sharpens. You start distinguishing between your own conclusions and the projections of others. This is the re-establishment of your capacity for independent assessment. You stop spending mental energy defending positions you didn't organically form. The drain on your resources lessens. Your internal compass recalibrates, pointing towards verifiable truth instead of externally manufactured consensus. You reclaim the right to define your own reality, one data point at a time. You are not merely a consumer of information. You are the architect of your own belief system. This protocol is not about rejecting all external data. It's about installing the firewall that prevents unauthorized system updates. It's about self-preservation in a landscape engineered for compliance. You came seeking a name for the exhaustion, for the subtle pressure. Now, you have a mechanism and a countermeasure. You are no longer a node passively accepting corrupted code. You are an active processor, armed with a filter, capable of parsing the engineered from the authentic. This is how you reclaim your cognitive sovereignty. This is how you ensure your oldest survival loop protects you, not them. The landscape of engineered consensus is dynamic, constantly evolving its tactics. Maintaining cognitive sovereignty is an ongoing practice, not a one-time installation. This filter is your primary defense against a system designed to exploit your most fundamental survival instincts. Understand the mechanism, deploy the countermeasure, and safeguard your internal architecture. The work starts today. For further protocols and tactical insights into securing your operating system against external manipulation, examine the archive. Your autonomy depends on continuous vigilance.